Not all monsters hide under the bed. Some smile at you from across the table. Some say, "I love you," with eyes that never mean it. Evil doesn't always storm in with fists raised. Sometimes, it walks in softly, with a warm voice, a perfect face, and all the right words. And you don't realize it at first. You feel something, yes, a small flicker of unease. But you silence it. You tell yourself not to judge. You tell yourself to be kind, to be fair. But evil counts on that. It counts on your silence. Your empathy. It hides behind charm and broken stories, knowing that good people will look the other way. So how do you know? How can you tell when someone close to you, a partner, a friend, a family member, is not who they pretend to be? You start by listening to what's not being said. The body knows. Long before the mind catches up, the body tenses. The breath shortens. The heart beats faster when they walk in. You tell yourself it's stress. You tell yourself you're imagining things. But you're not. That tightness in your chest. That's the truth trying to reach you. The first sign that someone near you is truly dangerous is this: they make you question your reality. It starts small. You mention something they said last week, and they deny it. Not angrily, with confidence. Calm. "I never said that." You're sure they did, but now you're not. You bring up a moment that upset you, and they say, "That's not how it happened." You hesitate. You try to explain. They interrupt. Laugh. "You're exaggerating. You're too emotional. You misunderstood." And just like that, the ground beneath your feet begins to shift. You go quiet. You replay conversations in your head, over and over. Did I hear them wrong? Did I take it too personally? Maybe it's me. Maybe I am the problem. But it's not you. They are twisting reality, just enough to make you unsure of your own mind. And that's the point. Because once you start doubting yourself, they no longer need to control you. You'll control yourself. You'll censor your words before they can argue. You'll stop confronting them. You'll stop standing up for yourself. And they'll smile, knowing they've bent your sense of truth to fit their story. This is not confusion. This is not miscommunication. This is manipulation. This is gaslighting. And it's one of the most dangerous weapons evil people use, because it's invisible. It leaves no bruises. No scars. Just silence. Just shame. Just you, slowly disappearing into a version of yourself you no longer recognize. They rewrite the past. They shift the blame. They make you feel crazy for noticing what they did. And the more you try to hold on to your truth, the more they pull it from your hands, piece by piece, until you're left holding nothing. And then, they comfort you. They'll say, "I know you struggle sometimes." They'll say, "I forgive you." As if they're the victim. As if you're unstable, difficult, broken. They break your sense of reality, then offer you theirs, like a lifeline. But it's not a lifeline. It's a leash. And every time you forgive them, every time you stay, they tighten it. You'll start to feel it physically, the fatigue, the anxiety, the dread before every conversation. You'll rehearse your words, afraid they'll twist them. You'll apologize, even when they hurt you. You'll lose trust in your own memory. Your instincts. Your soul. But somewhere inside, something still fights. A small, quiet voice. The one they haven't silenced yet. The one that says, "This isn't right." The one that remembers how peace used to feel, before they rewrote your world. And that voice, that's you. The real you. Still alive. Still watching. Still waiting. So when someone makes you feel small for asking questions, when they twist facts to make you the villain, when they make you doubt the pain they caused, don't explain it away. Don't call it a misunderstanding. Call it what it is. Evil. And the moment you do, their power begins to crack. There's a kind of silence that doesn't heal. A silence that doesn't come from peace, but from power. A silence that creeps in after you speak the truth, and suddenly, they disappear. No argument. No closure. Just absence. Cold. Sharp. Heavy. You try to reach out. You ask, "Are we okay?" Nothing. You explain yourself. Nothing. You apologize, though you're not sure for what. Still nothing. And that's the second sign you're standing next to something dark. They punish you with silence until you break. They withhold themselves, their attention, their affection, even their presence, until the air becomes unbearable. They don't scream. They don't hit. They just vanish emotionally. And leave you trapped in a fog of doubt and guilt. You tell yourself you were too harsh. You replay what you said, trying to find the mistake. You shrink your own pain just to make the discomfort stop. And eventually, you bend. You reach out again. You say, I was wrong. You say, let's move on. But deep down, you know, you just surrendered. They didn't need to win the argument. They just needed to disappear long enough for you to feel abandoned. And now that you've returned to them, quieter, smaller, easier, they let you in again. They offer a smile. A soft touch. Maybe even a compliment. It feels like relief. But it's not relief. It's reinforcement. They've trained you. Without a word. Like a dog with a shock collar, punishment, obedience, reward. And you learn. You learn not to bring things up. You learn to censor your truth. You learn to carry the tension in your shoulders, in your throat, in your gut, always. And no one sees it. They look calm. You look anxious. They look composed. You look unstable. That's the trick. They provoke the storm inside you, then stand calmly outside it, blaming you for the weather. And if you ever break, if the silence drives you to scream, to cry, to say, this is not okay, they look at you, expressionless, and say, this is why I don't talk to you. And now it's your fault again. This is not distance. This is control. They don't need to raise their voice to dominate you. They just remove themselves until you crave their presence more than you value your own dignity. That's how evil works, not by chaos, but by absence. And once you're trained to fear the silence, you belong to them. But it doesn't end there. Because then comes the third sign, the one that poisons everything. They always make themselves the victim. It doesn't matter what they've done. They cheated. They'll tell you it's because you made them feel unloved. They lied. It's because they were afraid of your reaction. They humiliated you in front of others. They were joking, and you're too sensitive. No matter how cruel, how selfish, how cold they've been, somehow, you'll end up comforting them. They tell you about their pain. Their past. Their trauma. And maybe it's true. Maybe they were hurt once. But now they use it. Now they wear it like armor, like camouflage. Every confrontation becomes an attack. Every boundary you set becomes a betrayal. Every time you ask for accountability, they collapse into their wounded shell and say, you don't understand what I've been through. And so, you fold. You quiet your voice. You soothe them. You hold them, while your own hands shake from what they just did to you. They want your pity. Because pity disarms anger. And once you feel sorry for them, you can't see them clearly anymore. You protect them. You justify them. You explain their darkness as damage. But here's the truth they hide behind that mask: being hurt is not a license to hurt others. There's a difference between someone who is healing and someone who uses their pain to excuse cruelty. The first takes responsibility. The second takes power. And they are always in control. They choose when to be soft and when to strike. When to cry and when to cut. When to open their wounds and when to aim at yours. And they do it all under the story of, I've been through so much. As if that makes it okay. But pain doesn't justify manipulation. Suffering doesn't excuse cruelty. Everyone has scars. But not everyone uses those scars as weapons. And here's the darkest part: they know exactly what they're doing. They know how to twist a conversation until you're the one saying sorry. They know how to make you feel selfish for asking for the bare minimum. They know how to collapse into sadness when you get too close to the truth. And in that moment, when they cry, when they tremble, when they say, I can't handle this right now, you step back. You silence yourself. You become the caretaker again. And the cycle resets. They hurt you. You comfort them. And somewhere in that twisted logic, you forget who the victim actually is. This isn't love. This isn't intimacy. This is survival. You spend your energy managing their emotions while yours rot inside you. You become afraid of confronting them, not because you fear violence, but because you know they'll fall apart. And then somehow, you'll end up carrying both your pain and theirs. And that's what they want. They don't want resolution. They want reversal. So the next time you see someone constantly playing the victim, when they always have a reason, a story, a wound, but never a mirror, pause. Ask yourself, Who do they hurt when no one's looking? Because people who are always the victim never see the damage they cause. They can't. Because in their world, the pain they inflict never counts. Only their own matters. And that's not someone broken. That's someone dangerous. There's a moment, it always comes, when you catch something strange in their eyes. Not rage. Not sadness. But satisfaction. You've just told them you're hurting. You've just shown your vulnerability. And for a split second, something flickers behind their expression. A small, twisted smile they try to hide. That's when the mask slips. The fourth sign that you are standing next to evil is this: they enjoy your pain, as long as they can disguise it as something else. Usually, it's a joke. They laugh when you flinch. They smirk when you struggle to explain how something cut too deep. It was just sarcasm, they say. Don't be so serious. You tell them something personal, and they throw it back at you in public, wrapped in laughter. Everyone laughs. Except you. Because you know it wasn't harmless. You know it was a warning. That's the trick, they hide cruelty inside comedy. They stab you with a smile and dare you to make a scene. And if you do, they tilt their head and say, "God, you really can't take a joke, can you?" But it's not a joke. Not to them. It's control. It's a test. How far can they go before you fight back? And when you don't, when you force a laugh just to keep the room calm, when you swallow the sting just to avoid drama, they win. Not just the moment. The power. Because that laugh, that shrug, that little jab in front of others, that wasn't random. That was targeted. That was precise. And they watched every second of it. Evil people don't need to scream to dominate. They use humor like a scalpel. Cutting away your confidence, your dignity, your strength, slice by slice, while everyone else claps and calls them funny. You leave the conversation feeling smaller, and they walk away taller. That's how you know. Real humor uplifts. This kind suffocates. And they always laugh the loudest when you're most confused. That's how they measure success, by the silence they leave behind. But it doesn't stop at jokes. Because once they've worn down your ability to defend yourself, once they've trained you to doubt your own sensitivity, they begin the next phase, comparison. That's the fifth sign, they destroy your self-worth by constantly making you feel like you're never enough. Not in obvious ways. They won't say, "You're worthless." That would be too easy to call out. Instead, they say, "Why can't you be more like her?" Or, "You used to try harder." Or, "He would have handled that better." They speak in comparisons. Always pointing to someone more attractive, more successful, more agreeable. And you begin to see yourself through their eyes, flawed, lacking, broken. It's not always about other people. Sometimes, they compare you to an idealized version of yourself. The person they first fell in love with. The one who used to be fun. The one who didn't complain so much. And you start chasing that ghost. You try to become what they say they miss, more passive, more pleasing, more quiet, not realizing that what they really miss is control. It's never about love. It's about leverage. They keep you off balance, always striving, always performing, always trying to be better, as if love is something you must constantly earn just to avoid being discarded. And they know exactly what they're doing. They compliment others in front of you, not out of honesty, but as a tactic. They praise someone else's traits that you lack. They flirt just enough to make you notice, then accuse you of being paranoid. They tell you, "You're too insecure," right after making sure you feel that way. It's not just emotional. It's spiritual. They don't just make you feel unattractive. They make you feel invisible. And when you bring it up, when you say, "That hurt me," or "I feel like I'm not enough for you," they either laugh or roll their eyes. "You're overthinking. You're always so negative. Nothing I say is ever right with you." So you stop talking. You stop asking. You stop needing. And they love that. Because now, you don't just feel small. You believe you are. And once they've convinced you that you don't deserve more, that you're lucky they even stay, they can do anything. Because who would leave someone so kind, so funny, so generous, for nothing? You'd be crazy to walk away, right? That's the cage. They destroy you slowly, then convince you that no one else would want what's left. And you believe it. You believe it because you've been conditioned to. Not overnight, but in moments. In whispers. In sideways glances and cruel jokes and backhanded compliments. You didn't wake up one day feeling worthless. You were led there, hand in hand, by someone who claimed to love you. But love doesn't make you question your worth. Love doesn't humiliate you for entertainment. Love doesn't compare you to others and ask why you fall short. Evil does that. And the most terrifying part. You start to join them. You look in the mirror and repeat their words. You doubt your value. You downplay your strengths. You apologize for existing. And they smile. Because the job is done. They no longer have to belittle you. You've learned to do it yourself. They don't say, don't talk to your friends. They don't forbid you from seeing your family. That would be too obvious. Too crude. No, evil works in whispers. In suggestions. In subtle rewrites of your world. They don't build walls. They build doubt. That's the sixth sign. They isolate you, not by force, but by corrosion. It starts with a glance. A raised eyebrow. A small comment, she's a bit manipulative, don't you think? He doesn't really support you like I do. Are you sure they're happy for you? You think it's just conversation. An opinion. But it lingers. It grows. You begin to notice tension where there was none. You pull back, just a little. You stop sharing things with that friend. You cancel that meeting with your brother. You start to feel like no one else really understands you, except them. That's exactly what they want. Because once they isolate you, they become the only voice in your world. And once they're the only voice, they get to narrate your life. Your thoughts. Your worth. Your truth. It doesn't feel like isolation at first. It feels like loyalty. Like connection. Like intimacy. It's just us now. You don't need them, you have me. We're better when it's just the two of us. And it sounds beautiful. Intoxicating. Romantic, even. But then the silence begins. You stop getting messages. People don't reach out like they used to. You're not invited anymore. And when you bring it up, they shrug. Maybe they never really cared. Maybe you're just finally seeing the truth. But it's not the truth. It's a story they wrote for you, and erased everyone else from the pages. The people who once made you laugh now feel far away. The spaces that once felt like home now feel like trespassing. Your world shrinks. And in that small, airless room they've built for you, they sit like a king. The only one who understands you. The only one who stayed. But here's the horror, they pushed everyone else away, and made you say thank you for it. That's the magic of evil. It doesn't have to imprison you. It makes you close the door yourself. And once you're alone, the final stage begins. The seventh sign is the most devastating of all. You forget who you are. Not dramatically. Not suddenly. Quietly. Day by day. You used to love music. Now you don't listen to it. You used to laugh loudly. Now you hesitate. You used to dream. Now you just survive. The things that made you you have been stripped away, one by one. Your routines. Your passions. Your boundaries. Your voice. All replaced with their version of who you should be, compliant, quiet, careful. They didn't demand that you change. They just punished you when you didn't. And now, you don't remember the last time you made a choice without fear. You don't remember the last time you felt proud of yourself. You look in the mirror and see someone who flinches before speaking, someone who weighs every word, someone who exists to keep the peace, not live a life. That's not love. That's erasure. Because evil doesn't just want to control you. It wants to consume you. And it will, unless you remember. Unless you sit with the silence, not their silence, yours. The quiet voice buried under years of noise. The one that once said, "This is not who I am." The one that still knows. It will be hard. You will doubt yourself. You will grieve the time you lost. The self you abandoned. The people you pushed away. But grief is part of healing. Because to come back to yourself, you must first admit how far you drifted. And that will take courage. Not loud courage. The quiet kind. The kind that says, enough. The kind that says, I deserve to be whole. The kind that says, I remember who I was before you. And that is the beginning. Because once you remember who you are, they lose their power. Not all at once. But moment by moment. Word by word. Breath by breath. You return. And they fade.